Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. It's Sylvia, and you are at the webinar Building Wealth Through Real Estate. Now, two things to know about me. The first thing is my services to you are absolutely free of charge. I don't charge you for my services because the lenders pay me my commission. I work with 25 different lenders, and with 25 different lenders, it means a lot of options. So, one of my superpowers is to educate. So make sure you have a pen and paper nearby because you're going to be writing a lot of notes. You're going to be learning a lot of new stuff. So make sure you get a pen and paper. Now, the second superpower is my second superpower is to strategize. Now, as a client, you have two options. You can go into the branch to get a mortgage, or you could come through a mortgage agent like myself. Now, when you go into a branch, it's basically you're like, hey, I need a mortgage, and they'll offer you one product. They don't help you strategize. And by offering you one product, it's like going into the Nike store where you only have the option of one product. But by going through a mortgage agent like myself, it's like going to Mountain Equipment Co-op where you have a lot of different products and a lot of different options. So the individual there will ask you a lot of questions to help find the product that best suits your needs. And that's going through a mortgage agent. Now, let me tell you a fun story. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, so let me tell you a fun story. You guys are looking at a hockey rink, and if you guys can see really, really carefully, in the corner there, you can see the hose there, and you can see that there's absolutely no water. So this is our backyard. This is our ice rink. Gary, my husband, decided to build an ice rink because, COVID, no activities for the kids. So he decided to build the ice rink, and I'm like, go for it. All yours, your project, take care of it. So he went to go buy the wood, prepared it, and he started filling up the rink. And then he goes, Syl, come downstairs quick. I need your help. So I run downstairs. He's like, I need you to start digging. And I'm like, what? He goes, you see, the water is not filling up on one corner and it's going to overflow on the other side. So you need to start digging with me. And so for 90 minutes, we are outside and we're digging and digging and digging. And oh my goodness, my back is killing me. And finally, the water pools over to the other side. And then Gary's like, man, I hope the kids use this rink. And then a thought occurred to me. As a parent, we will do anything for our kids so that our kids are happy and we set them up for success. Now, one way that I set up my kids for success is I buy them property. You see, everyone, there is a trend that's going on here. And this trend is that Toronto is going to become like a San Francisco and New York City where the norm is going to be renting. The experts say that in 30 years, by 2050, no one can afford to buy. People can't afford to buy, so they're just going to rent. And that's the direction that Toronto is heading in. So when my kids, they're 8 and 9 right now, when they're ready to purchase a place, they're going to be forced to rent because it's going to be too expensive. Right now, we already see that. The market in Toronto is crazy. Anybody who owns a property here in the Toronto area basically won the jackpot. The prices have gone up like crazy. First-time home buyers are being priced out of the market as we speak today. So one way that I help my kids set them up for success is I buy them property, and I want to eventually give it to my kids and my grandkids to give them a fighting chance to own. Your dream may be different than mine. Oops, let's go this way. Your dream may be different from mine. Maybe your dream to buy an investment property is to retire with passive income. Maybe your dream is not to give the property to the kids, but to pay for their education in full. So when the kids are going to go to university, college, you're going to sell the property and pay for the kids' education. Or maybe it's to help them start up a business. But your dream is about living life on your terms. And by having a second property, the possibilities are endless. So question for you is, what is your dream? Now, I'm just going to turn off the share for a second. I want you to imagine a family called the McPhersons. So close your eyes and imagine this family called the McPhersons. It's a family of 4, mom, dad, 2 kids. Now, before the kids came out, the mom and dad, the husband and wife, they bought a starter home. And when the kids started coming, they started taking over the house. If you're a parent, you know, kids just take over. And they're like, man, we need to get a bigger place. So the McPhersons decided to go buy a bigger place. So they sold their current home and bought a bigger place. And because they bought a bigger place, they got a bigger mortgage. And because they ended up with 2 kids, they ended up with an extra car. Now, for the McPhersons, their dream, they had 3 dreams. Their dream was, 1, to save money for RRSPs so that they can retire with money and there won't be a burden to their kids. Their second dream was to save money for RESPs to give their kids a good chance at a good education. Their third dream was to pay off the mortgage in full prior to retirement. The problem with this is that life happens. And for the McPhersons, life happened. Things always came up. And for their plan to pay off the mortgage was at the end of the year, whatever money's left over, we're going to put that towards the mortgage. But again, because life happened, it was really, really tough. So the only thing that they can think of that could to make sure that their goal to pay off their mortgage prior to retirement, their only way that they could think of was to increase the mortgage payment to stay on track. Now, the only way they were able to increase that mortgage payment was to cut back somewhere else. So they ended up cutting back on their vacation fund. This is the only way that they knew how to pay down that mortgage fast. Now, this sounds like you or someone you know, you are not alone, because this is the typical picture of a Canadian family. So the question comes down to is this the best strategy? Or is this the only strategy? Now, there are a few realities here that I want to bring to mind. So the first reality with the McPhersons is they were limiting their lifestyle because they had to increase their mortgage payment. So they were limiting their lifestyle. The second reality is Canadians are living to an older and older age these days with medical technology. Medical technology is so good, like goodness gracious. We got the COVID vaccine in less than a year. So people are living longer and longer lives. So if you have a person that's right beside you, I want you to look into that person's eyes. Now that individual, there's a 50-50 chance that one of you is gonna live to 92. Now, another reality to think about is 1/3 of Canadians have a private pension. So a private pension is someone who works for the government or who works for the government or is a teacher. Okay, so they work for the government, they work for the government, or they're a teacher and they get a private pension. But what that means is 2/3, 2 out of every 3. So think of 3 friends, 2 out of every 3 of you guys will be living at retirement off of your savings and CPP and OAS alone. And CPP and OAS alone is $1,200 per month. For me, bring back my screen here. For me, I can't imagine living on $1,200 per month. Can you? Now, I'm going to talk about another strategy why you're here today. Now, this strategy is more than the traditional saving each month. This strategy is all about allowing you to dream big. Now, this strategy is all about living the life that you want, doing the things that you want, but more importantly, doing the things that you want when you want to do them. So living life on your terms. Now, this strategy has worked for me in the past. It's working for me today, and I know will work for me in the future. Now, this is my disclaimer. This is my strategy. This is my opinion. So my strategy is to buy property and hold it long-term. My strategy is to live off of the passive income at retirement. My strategy is to eventually give this property to my kids and my grandkids. Today, I will cover the following. So I will teach you how the banks think. I will teach you how to buy a second property, and that long-term is key. I will help you understand the risks and also help you teach you step by step on how to start up in investing. Am I doing the best that I can with the resources that I have? We are all limited in time and money. This is a question that I ask myself all the time because as a family of four, we are really busy. My son is in competitive hockey, competitive gymnastics. My daughter's in competitive cheer. We're always running around from arena to competition to competition. So I'm always asking myself, am I doing the best that I can with the resources, the money that I have? So throughout this presentation, I want you to ask yourself this question: am I doing the best that I can with my resources? Now, let me tell you my personal story. So in 1999, I graduated from the University of Ottawa in nursing. Yes, I know, nursing, mortgage agent. I'll get there in a second. So I got a full-time job in Ottawa and I was working as a nurse. And my mom called me up one day. She's like, Sil, you know what? I want you to come back to Toronto. I want you to help in the family business. And being the good girl that I am, I quit my job and I moved back to Toronto. So you see, my mom owned a real estate brokerage. And my sister and I, we helped manage that real estate brokerage. So I grew up real estate my entire life. And then one day she called me up and she's like, Sil, we're going to go see this townhouse. And this townhouse is located right beside Fairview Mall at 401 and 404. Now, keep in mind, guys, I grew up real estate. So this was not an abnormal question or a request from me. This is just a normal request. Like I've seen a million homes in my lifetime. So I call the listing agent, we book the appointment, I get the lockbox code, we drive there, we park, we go find the lockbox, put in the code, knock, 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 is anyone home? Put in the key and we walk in. We walk into the small little foyer. And they had this really cute little kitchen with, those brown, shiny cabinet doors, the ones that your grandparents may have had. We go down to the basement and it has that brown paneling. I don't know if you guys remember, but it has that brown paneling in the basement. It had a 3-piece bathroom. We go all the way upstairs, and upstairs was actually quite cute. It was 2 bedrooms. And the master bedroom had floor to ceiling windows. It had a walk-in closet, and there were 2 skylights on the 2nd floor. It was quite cute as a button. And my mom turns around, she goes, Sylvia, we're going to buy this property. And I'm like, great, who's buying it? She's like, you are. I'm like, what do you mean I am? I can't buy this property. I'm not ready to buy this property. That's crazy talk, Mom. I'm not ready to buy this property because I just graduated at $50,000 in student loans. I am not ready to buy this property because I was just in the midst of lining up a full-time job. And I am not ready to buy this place because, Mom, I don't even have the bare minimum 5% down payment. Her answers to me was, Sylvia, we will figure it out together. I will guide you through each and every step of the way. Because my mom was there right beside me, she helped me take that leap of faith. And she walked me through from when I was not ready to buying a townhouse. This is my first home. We were able to figure out the issues. So I got my full-time job. I borrowed the 5% down payment from my dad and my sister. Now, why am I telling you this story? Well, I'm telling you this story because 17 years ago, my mom gave me this little push when I was not ready. And because she was my guide, I took that leap of faith and it caused this reaction. 3 years later, I sold this townhouse. I made a profit. I used the profit to, 1, pay off my $50K in student loan. I used the profit to buy a bigger, more expensive, fully detached house at Leslie and Shepherd. I used the profits of the sale from the townhouse to put in a basement apartment. You see, this was a bungalow, so 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms. That was all to me. And I had a separate basement, had a walkout basement and a separate entrance. And so I put in a basement apartment. And this is my second home. I rented out the basement and I saw the rental money come in. And that's when I was hooked. I was hooked to real estate. The rental income that was coming in was more than my mortgage payment. Right there and then, I stopped nursing. I became a full-time mortgage agent because I wanted to understand the art of real estate investing. And that was over 20 years ago. So why do I love being a mortgage agent? Well, it's because my passion is to teach my clients how to buy a second home, to live the life that you want, to live life on your terms. For me, again, it's for the kids. Anything for the kids, right? Now, the next slide is very, very, very important. So if there's anything that you're going to remember, this is a slide that you're going to remember. And this slide talks about how the banks think. Where are the banks? Uh-oh, it won't change. Oh, here we go. Okay, how the banks are making their lending decisions. There we go. Oh no, hold on for 2 secs. Great, guys. Okay. Okay, stop. Okay, good. Okay. So how banks make their lending decisions. Now, we can all agree that banks know how to make money. We can all agree that banks know how to make money well. So if we can think like the bank, and then we could think like the bank, then we could be profitable like them too. We could just repeat their actions. So from an investment class point of view, there are 3 types of investment classes. You can put your money into a business. You could put your money into stocks and mutual funds with a financial planner, or you could put your money into real estate. So let's just say you had $100,000 and you wanted to open up a business, and you walk into your local branch and you're like, hey, Mrs. Branch Manager, I want to start up a business. And I have $100,000, but I want you to also lend me $100,000 so I can have $200,000 to invest in this business. The bank manager will hum and haw because that's not really their business. But then he's like, let's just say they're in a good mood and they're like, okay, fine. I will give you $100,000 and you will have $200,000 to invest in a business. Let's just say the next day you change your mind. You know what, Mrs. Bank Manager, we changed our mind. We actually want to invest $100,000 with your best financial planner ever. And what I mean by best financial planner ever is I want to invest with a financial planner that has the best results, like can make me the most money. I have 100 grand. Will you give me another $100,000 so I can have $200,000 to invest with your best financial planner? The bank manager will hum and haw and be like, okay, you know what? I'm in a good mood. I'll give you 100 grand. So now you have $200,000 to invest in the stock market or into mutual funds with a financial planner. You know what? You change your mind and you're like, you know what, Mr. Bank Manager, Mrs. Bank Manager, I have $100,000 and I actually don't want to put into financial plan with a financial planner or into a business. I actually want to buy real estate. And this real estate is, I'm not sure if it's a condo or a townhouse or whether it is a detached house. Actually, in fact, Mr. Bank Manager, I'm not sure if it is going to be in the area or on the outskirts of the Toronto area, but I know it's going to be real estate. Mr. Bank Manager, will you lend me money? And Mr. Bank Manager goes, yes, in fact, I will lend you money. In fact, I will lend you $400,000 so that you can go out and purchase a property for $500,000. Wow. No hesitation from the bank manager. What does this mean? This means that banks are putting their money into real estate. Another way to look at it is this. Banks believe in real estate. They actually feel that real estate is 4 times more profitable than, let's just say, mutual funds. Or another way to look at it is mutual funds are 4 times riskier than property. Now, this is not me telling you guys. This is the banks. This is how banks make their lending decisions. Let's take this one step further. Let's just say you want to invest you want to make $100,000 in 5 years. For you to make $100,000 in 5 years, you will need a 50% return on your money. So if you want a 50% return on your money for stocks with your mutual financial planner, you will need a 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10% return on your money. Is that possible with a financial planner in the stock market? Maybe. Now, let's just say you want to make the same return on your money, $100,000 in 5 years. For real estate, you will only need a 20% return on your money. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know. Can someone please let me know if there's a delay in my feed or if you guys are okay at hearing me? Can you guys put that into the chat? I feel that it's a little slow on my end. It's good? Okay, thanks, Maddie. Okay, so for you to get 20% return on your money, $100,000 in the next 5 years for real estate, you need 20% return on your money. So you need 4%, 4%, 4%, 4%, 4% return on your money. Is that possible in the Toronto area? Yes, absolutely it is possible. Okay, so now that I've taught you guys how to make a 20% return on your money here in the Toronto area, who would like to make a 25% return on your money? Put yes in the chat. Delay on your feed for me. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what to do with the delay. I hope you guys can still listen to me. Okay, so Nikki wants to learn. Brittany, Genevieve, Medi, yes. Roseanne, Ali, awesome. Suzanne, beautiful. Hi, Suzanne. He wants to learn. Okay, wonderful. How to make 25% return on your money. Yeah, let's see if I could get this to go to the next slide. Okay, so how to make 25% return on your money. So let's just say you had $100,000. I know the question I get asked a lot is like, Sylvia, where do I get $100,000? Well, in fact, you actually have that money. You actually have that money. It's actually dormant money that's sitting in your current home today. And I will show you how to tap into that dormant money, that equity, with almost no cash out of your pocket. So let's just say you have $100,000. And then the banks will lend you $400,000. So you go out and buy a $500,000 investment property. Now, here's how you make 25% return on your money. Okay, so the property value increases by 5%. So now the new value instead of 500 is worth $525,000. So it went up by 25,000. Now, how much did you invest originally in this property? You invested 100 grand. So you got 25%, you got $25,000 increase in value. You put $100,000 down. So you just made 25% return on your money. Now, a lot of people overlook this fact. A lot of people were like, you know what? I bought an investment property last year for 500. It's only gone up to 525. It wasn't as good as an investment as I thought. But in fact, you have to think about how much did you actually put into the investment? You put in 100. So that's 25% return on your money. Now, many people love the idea of buying an investment property, but their first concern is, Sylvia, you know what? I don't want to be a landlord. What happens if my tenant doesn't pay me or if they damage the property? And honestly, Sylvia, I do not want to get a text in the middle of the night saying my furnace is broken in the middle of winter or my toilet is broken. Well, the solution to that is you hire a property manager and you get proper insurance in place. Now, will this eat into your profits? Yes, absolutely, it will eat into your profits. But again, ask yourself, are you doing the best that you can with the resources that you have? So again, your resources, you have this $100,000. Are you just going to put it under your pillow? No, you're not going to. You're going to probably invest it with a financial planner because as kids, that's what our parents taught us to do. And that financial planner is not doing it for free because they need to make money as well. So they charge MER fees, management fees. And those management fees is equivalent to hiring a property manager and getting proper insurance in place. Now, whenever you get into a type of investment, you always have to understand the risks. So what are the risks for investment properties? So in my opinion, risk is not equivalent to the amount of debt owned. Let me repeat that again. Risk is not equivalent to the amount of debt owned. Actually, if anything, the mortgage is a good debt because it's against an appreciating asset. So if any debt that you want to have, you actually want to have a mortgage debt. And you know what? Mortgage rates right now, mortgage debt is so dirt cheap these days, you got to get it. Now, in my opinion, risk is equivalent to the demand for it, the control you have for it, and exit strategies. So is there demand for rental investments? Yes, absolutely there's demand for rental investments. Whoops, where'd it go? There's demand for rental. First-time home buyers are being priced out of the market today, so they're going to rent. Do you have control where you can sell the property? Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely go sell the property. Like look at Toronto right now. It's so hot to buy properties, to buy houses in the GTA area. Oh, I'm disappearing. Can you improve the property? Yeah, absolutely. So you have control over it. You could improve the bathroom, you can improve the kitchen, you can improve the landscaping, and you can increase the rent, or you can sell it for a higher price. You can change its use. So for example, you can change it to a duplex, right? So let's just say like my house at Leslie and Shepherd, I lived upstairs, but I rented out the basement. So you can change its use to a 2-family home. Now definitely check with the municipality. You can do the rent to own program. You have a lot of control and there's a lot of demand. Exit strategies, you can sell it. Another exit strategy, oh, no, stay. Okay. Another exit strategy is as the value of the property increases in value, you can pull the money back out, the original 100,000 that you took out, and now it's 0% financing. That's a little bit more of a complicated strategy, but I can talk to you about it if you'd like to know more. So to further talk about risk, there's more risk in you doing absolutely nothing. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm trying to time the market. It's not about timing the market. It's about the time that you own the property. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. So the next question I have that a lot of people ask is cash flow. Well, where do I find a property that's positive cash flow in the Toronto area? Now, the honest answer to you is it's really, really tough. It's really tough to find something that's positive cash flow. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a property that's negative cash flow because having positive cash flow will definitely help pay for the bills. But having positive cash flow is not what's going to make you rich. Here are two different type of cows. There's a milk cow and there's a beef cow. The milk cow is the positive cash flow cow. So you milk it every single month and you get money every single month to help pay the bills. But the beef cow is where you're going to make the most money. That's where you're going to get rich. And the beef cow is owning the property, owning that cow for a long, long time, and then selling it. This is known as the compounding effect. Okay. So the compounding effect, what is it? Well, there are going to be a lot of numbers, so bear with me as I go over the numbers. So this is a compounding effect of owning just one property. So let's just say you go out and buy a property for $500,000. The value of the property increases by 5%. Now, folks, for you in the Toronto area, I am using 5% very, very loosely. In the Toronto area over the last 30 years, on average, the price increase has grown from 7 to 8%. So I'm just using 5% in this scenario. So after the end of first year, your property has gone up to 525. Now, at the end of the second year, property would have gone up to 551, and you can see the compounding effect starting. At the end of third year, 578. At the end of fourth year, 607. At the end of owning it for 5 years, the value of the property has gone up to $638,000. So what's the difference between the two of 638 and 500? It's 138,000. But remember, over the last 5 years, your tenant has been helping you pay down the mortgage. So the principal pay down is another 51,000. So what that means is over a 5-year period, the value, your net worth increased by $189,000. So remember that negative cash flow that I was talking to you about? Well, let's just say you ended up buying an investment property and it had negative $500 per month cash flow, right? So 500, let's do a bit of math here. 500 times 12 is 6,000. 6,000 times 5 years is 30 grand. So instead of making 189,000, would you be okay to make 189 minus 30, $159,000 in 5 years? I'd be okay with that. Now, if this was exciting to you guys, let me show you the compounding effect over time. Okay, compounding effect over time. Okay, so for the first 5 years, potential net worth increase is 189,000. So we went over that. Going along the same formula, after 10 years with compounding effect, $427,000. After 20 years, 1.1 million. After 30 years, $2.1 million. Now, I know, guys, these numbers look absolutely crazy, but think about your own home. Think about what you bought it for and what it's worth today. Or better yet, think about your parents' home. What did they buy it for 30 years ago? And what is it worth today? What I'm showing you right now is just an extension of time. So another thing that I did was, you know what, I went back 30 years. So you know that $500,000 investment property, I took that property and I went back 30 years to look at what the value was 30 years ago. And the value of that property 30 years ago was 125,000. And then 30 years later, 500,000. So again, this is just an extension of time. Now that you understand, so wait, one more thing. Where's my cursor? Okay, so remember, you invested $100,000 to buy this investment property. So your rate of return in the first 5 years, 190%, 428% return on your money, 1,100% return on your money. And after 30 years, it's over 2,100% return on your money. How exciting is this? Now that you understand the key to buying real estate is holding it long-term so that the compounding effect can occur. This is how you get started. Okay, so to buy an investment property, you have to have a minimum 20% down payment. That's a rule that the government has put in place, 20% down payment to buy an investment property. So where do you get the 100 grand? Well, there's one way, and this is a way that a lot of people do, but it's not the right way. And they use their hard-earned cash savings to purchase an investment property. First of all, it's not tax efficient. And that's something that I'm going to teach you about tax efficiency, because it's a whole new world when it talks about tax efficiency. And the other thing is, you know what? It takes a long time to save up $100,000. So when you get into buying rental investments, you want the maximum tax write-offs. You want the most deductions. Or, you know what, you're going to end up paying more taxes to the government and less money in your pocket. And that defeats the whole purpose of doing this. So you want the maximum tax write-off. So you do not, I repeat, you do not use your own hard-earned cash savings to purchase an investment property. The next option, in my opinion, is the easier and faster way. And it's a way that I did it when I expanded my real estate empire. And it's a way that most investors do. And what they did was they opened up the hose. Okay, what does this mean? So imagine you have a water hose and you're holding it really, 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 really tight. And you're not letting that water come out. But once you learn how to open up the hose, open up that resource that you may not know that you had, the possibilities are endless. So what this means by opening up the hose is activating that cash, activating that dormant cash that you have available that's in your house. In the mortgage world, that's called equity. Another way that I say it is that it's the money that's stuck in your house. It's a resource that you may not know that you have. Or maybe you did know that you have, but you didn't know what to do with it. This equity is another way to think about it. It's like this big, huge savings account that you actually have access to, but it's making you 0% interest. So my job is to show you how to open up that hose, tap into the unused resource that you have. What does opening up that hose mean? Well, here you go. So activating that equity. So you guys we're going to do a bunch of number crunching right now. So get a pen and paper out. And you might need a calculator, so use your phone. So I'll wait here for a second here. Okay. Let's just say you own a property and your property is worth $600,000 and you have a mortgage against it for $200,000. The banks will lend you up to 80% of the value of your home. So if your value of the house is 600,000, you can get 80% of that, and therefore the maximum mortgage that, as long as you qualify, the maximum mortgage that they'll give you is $480,000. So if you want to figure out like what your property is worth, you put in what your property is worth. So in this case, 600, so 600,000, multiply by 0.8 and then go equal, and you'll get $480,000. Now, what will happen is you have access to 480, but you have a mortgage of 200. So the equity, that hose, that resource, that water that's coming out that you have available to you is $280,000 of water or equity in this house, in the house. Now we're going to use that equity to go buy an investment property. Now, right now, I want you guys to put in the chat box $130,000. Please let me know you're still with me. Put in the chat box $130,000. Everyone, yep, that's great. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Medi. Anybody else? $130,000. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, $130,000. Now, this number, I want you to remember this number because this number is how much they will owe after 10 years. So this greenhouse roof, they're going to owe $130,000 after 10 years. So from the $280,000 equity, we're only just going to take $100,000. And we're going to go buy an investment property. The banks will give us $400,000, and we go out and buy an investment property for $500,000. We rent it out and we keep it long term. Now, here is a client of mine. Her name is Sandra. Sandra is young. She's adventurous. At this time of this picture, I have her permission to share the story. At this time, she's 38 years old. This is in 2019, where she conquered Mount Everest Base Camp. She called me up in 2019. She's like, you know what, Sylvia, I am growing out of my condo, my 1-bedroom condo at Yonge and Sheppard, and I'm thinking of selling it. And I want to upgrade to a bigger place. And so we worked out the numbers, and yeah, she could totally do it. She had a full-time job and she was working and she had equity in her home. She could sell it and go buy a new property. But as a mortgage agent, here I am strategizing. I was like, Sandra, have you ever thought about maybe keeping this property, renting it out, and still buying a second property? She's like, oh, I didn't even know that this was a possibility. Like, it's just me here. Are you sure I can do this? Well, we worked out the numbers, and yes. So this is what happened. The condo that she owned at Yonge and Sheppard, we increased that mortgage. We pulled out the equity. We opened up that hose. We took out $100,000. So she had a higher mortgage there. She rented out that condo at Yonge and Sheppard. And then she went out to go buy another property, a second property. And here is her second property. So in 2019, she bought the second property for $385,000. She started with a mortgage of $270,000. In 2020, a year later, the value of the property already increased to $467,000. So just in 1 year, she made $203,000. But the most important part, the beauty about this is that now she has two properties growing in value. Let me introduce you to the 15-year, $2 million plan. Okay, so the properties here in the Toronto area grow by 5% per year. And again, like I said, this is a very conservative number for the Toronto area. According to the rule of 72, so you can write down rule of 72. Uh-oh, I don't know why it's circling. Rule of 72, and the growth of homes double. So what that means is this property that you bought for $500,000 and you finance the full 500, because remember you borrowed the 100 and you got 400 from the bank, you finance a full 500,000. After 15 years, the property value doubles. And again, this is a rule of 72 at 5% increase per year. So the value of the property has gone up after 15 years to $1 million. But during these 15 years, the mortgage has been paid down. It's been paid down to $300,000. So what that means is after 15 years, net worth $700,000. Now, if you did this 3 times, because most of my clients end up with two net worth of $2.1 million. So that's a 15-year, $2 million plan. Now let's circle back to the McPhersons. Remember the McPhersons, their goal was to save money for RRSPs, save money for RESPs, pay off their mortgage. And they were doing all this for the kids, anything for the kids, right? So I put a proposal together for them. So here are the numbers. And this is a proposal. Okay, so what they were doing is they were spending $5,000 per month. When they came to me, they were spending $5,000 per month. That breakdown on that $5,000 is they're paying $3,500 for this higher mortgage. Remember, they had to get a second car, so they were paying for 2 car loans now, and that was $1,100 per month. On a credit, and they were paying about $400 per month. So out of their pocket each month was $5,000 per month. So what we did is we merged all of these debts into one. We merged them all into one. And we merged them all into one. And then with their consolidated loan, their new mortgage payment was $1,900 per month. And their answer question to me was, oh my goodness, Sylvia, what am I going to do with $3,100 a month? Imagine the possibilities of having an extra $3,100 per month. Now, remember that dream of trying to pay off this mortgage by the time of the retirement? So their goal was to retire in 19 years. So I put another strategy in place where instead of $1,900 per month, they would increase their mortgage payment to $2,900 per month. And then we retire debt-free. But they still have an extra $2,100 per month. What are they going to do with that? Well, one of their dreams was to buy an investment property, but they never knew that they could do it. But can they do it now, even with negative cash flow? Yeah, absolutely. Now, what could an investment property do for them? What can an investment property do for the McPhersons? Okay, so here's our graph here. So in 10 years, they can pay off their mortgage, right? So remember that green roof, and I got you guys to put down $130,000. That was the outstanding mortgage amount at the end of 10 years. Well, at the end of 10 years with this investment property, they're going to have net worth of $427. By the time they sell it, pay capital gains, pay the real estate fees, they're going to have more than $130,000. They could pay off their mortgage and they could buy another investment property. Could they pay for the kids' education in full? Well, yeah, their kids are young. 20 years later, they could sell this property. This property is going to have net worth of $1.1 million. Could they pay for this investment property in full? Absolutely. Sorry. Could they pay for the kids' education in full? Absolutely. Well, at least I hope so. And then could they retire with some passive income? Yeah, they'll have $2.1 million in their bank account when they sell. So absolutely. So let's circle back to what I do. So what do I do? Well, again, my services are free. The lenders pay me my commission. My superpower is to educate and to strategize and to put a personal proposal together just for you. Just like what I did for the McPhersons, all my clients get a personal proposal. The last thing I will do is I will be your guide. You know how my mom was my guide at the beginning when I first bought that property when I was not ready, but I took that leap of faith. She was my guide. I want to be your guide. So remember that hockey rink that we built in the backyard? This is what happened. So this is my kids playing hockey on our beautiful hockey rink in our backyard. So it was pretty fun. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, the McPhersons are now out looking for an investment property. Now, one thing to think about, guys, is here in the Toronto area, there's a huge fire sale for the Toronto condos in the downtown core because everyone is leaving the downtown core. No one's there anymore, right? Everyone's leaving the Toronto downtown core. They're moving up north to a bigger property. So this is an opportunity for investors to purchase in the downtown core Toronto right now. Properties, a year ago, properties are going for $50,000 to $70,000 off from what they were selling from a year ago. So it's a great opportunity. Someone really smart said that where everybody is going, you shouldn't go there, but where everyone is leaving, that's where you should go. So what did we cover? We talked about, oh, some more pictures of them. So what do we cover? We cover that banks are putting their money into real estate. We covered that long term is key to owning the second property, to make your dreams come true, to live the life on your terms. And we talked about steps to start investing in real estate, and we talked about the risks. Remember that question I was asking you guys? What am I doing the best that I can with the resources? With the resources that I have. So we're limited. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, guys. Am I doing the best that I can with the resources that I have? So we're limited in time and money. So are you ready to release that hose to make it work for you? I love real estate. I believe in real estate, and I breathe real estate every single day. So you know that push that my mom gave me 17 years ago when I was not ready, when she was willing to guide me through each and every step of the way? This is what happened. Today, I own condos, I own townhouses, I own semis, I own detached homes. Today, I own 9 properties. I just closed on my 9th property a couple of weeks ago. Are you prepared to go from I am not ready to I am ready? Are you prepared to open up that hose, to tap into that unused resource that you have within your home? Are you ready to live life on your terms? Now, to get started, everybody who's here today will get this gift, and it's a free report. And this report talks about you'll get a free report. So this report talks about the value of your home, like how much is your house worth? So you can understand how much of that hose, of that equity that you have in your home. And you also get a copy of the webinar. Now, today's webinar, I've never done this before, but today, everybody that's here will get a copy of the webinar. So you can watch the webinar over and over again so you can understand the concepts. And please do feel free to share this with another family who has kids, who wants to do anything for their kids. Now, to get a copy of a report and to get a copy of this webinar, if you guys could put into the chat box, yes, that you would love a copy and a copy of the report, that would be great. And we will be in contact with you. So just put yes and yes that you want a copy of this report, and we will be in contact with you. Are you guys still there? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so in regards to next steps, for those interested in opening up the hose, for those who are ready to open up that hose, you can contact me by going to my website and booking in a time. You can book in a time on my website at sylviaho.ca and book in for a strategy call. And at the strategy call, we will be able to figure out in 15 minutes whether this strategy makes sense for you, whether you are ready to open up that hose. That's the end of the webinar, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. And I apologize for the technical issues and the slowing down of the webinar. We will make sure that all of you guys get a copy of this webinar. And if you want a copy of the report, please do reach out and we will get you a copy of the report so you know the value of your home. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye now.